Welcome to I Read It, where we feature a new cool story every day. Subscribe to the channel and tap the notifications bell for new content. In today's story, Risty Plum tells how he fricked up by getting his tonsils removed. I, like many people in adulthood, have had to deal with the annoyance of overgrown tonsils. From the 3 to 4 times a year tonsillitis, to the sleep apnea that they cause. Personally, I wanted my tonsils gone. After getting tonsillitis for the second time this year, I decided enough is enough. I booked an appointment with my general physician, referred to the surgeon, and made a date for the surgery. I was warned that I was in for the sorest throat of my life and that it was going to be agony for a while. Which was okay. How bad could it be? Day 1. I was prepped and ready to go, surprisingly not too nervous for my first major surgery. The procedure went well, my tonsils were gone and I was all set to recover in hospital. The pain wasn't too high yet, I was still spaced out from the drugs, so all in all the first night was quite easy. Day 2. 4 a.m., I woke up needing to go to the bathroom. I felt like I needed to spit, so I rushed over to the bathroom sink. I spat out a few mouthfuls of blood, not thinking too much of it. I slowly shuffled back to my bed and quickly fell back asleep. 7:30 a.m., this time I awoke to a lot of pain. I buzzed the nurse to get my dose of endone and Panadol. I mentioned to her that I had bled a little overnight. She was immediately concerned. She passed me a plastic cup and told me to spit all the blood that comes up from now. I thought that leaking blood would be common, as it was when I got my wisdom teeth out. For the next few hours, slowly but surely, I was filling up this cup that looked more and more like red wine. It was horrible because the pain was quite high regardless of the painkillers. I couldn't lie down or rest as the blood would go into my stomach. 10 p.m. The nurses tried to use an ice pack on my neck and give me countless icy poles to freeze the blood, but nothing was working. I had filled almost 2 cups now and they decided it was time to call my surgeon. They broke the bad news to me and told me I needed to be prepped for surgery again. I was surprisingly okay with it. I remained calm and collected. I went through the procedure again of getting countless needles and being sedated. Post-second surgery, I was back where I was today, but hopefully no more bleeding. The surgeon informed me that a blood vessel had hemorrhaged around my tonsil area, causing blood to leak. I had to have blood sucked out of my stomach because I had indeed swallowed quite a bit of blood. He told me that this complication only happens once a year for him. Lucky me. Day 3 to 4. The recovery was brutal and painful. I was in bed all day, struggling to get any solids down as the pain was too bad to swallow. However, no complications. Day 5. For anyone who has had the pleasure of having a tonsillectomy, you would know the most painful part about it is waking up from a snooze. I learned that the best thing to do is get up, drink some water and have some meds ASAP. I was getting out of the shower when I felt a large amount of liquid in my mouth. I leaned over the sink and spat out blood. My mom, who had been amazing throughout this whole thing, was luckily around the corner from my home when this happened. So I called her and we decided the safest bet would be returning to the hospital. I felt very unwell in the car ride, and I was pale as a ghost. They quickly put an IV in and gave me fluids. After a very long wait, we were advised by my surgeon to return home and come back in if it were to happen again. I returned home and rested up for a few hours. It was around 9 p.m. when I felt the same liquid taste in the back of my throat. This time I knew. I rushed to the bathroom and proceeded to cough up blood. As you can see, it's a lot more this time around. I don't know if you have ever had the displeasure of coughing up blood, but the worst part about it is just how sticky blood is. It sticks to your tongue, throat, and lips, resulting in blood clots getting stuck in your mouth. It's horrible. I called my mom and she rushed over to come to get me. Back to hospital again and another IV. I was admitted back to the ward and I stayed overnight. My night wasn't overly dramatic. I bled once around 3 to 4 a.m., but it only lasted 5 minutes, so there wasn't much for concern. Day 6. Things were looking okay. I was still in a lot of pain, but I had not bled outside of the little one in the morning. 1 p.m., I was watching daytime TV as I reached to have a sip of water. I felt that same feeling in my throat come on and it felt heavy quickly. I had no time to react, so I grabbed the smoothie cup I had received from my mom and proceeded to spit mouthfuls of blood into it. I was trying to get a hold of my buzzer to notify the nurse. They came in shortly after and rushed to get me a vomit bag. It was coming fast. The nurses were trying to keep me calm and they again put an ice pack behind my neck to try and slow down the bleeding. I kept coughing it up. I started making gagging noises as the blood was sticking and clotting around my throat. I started to feel lightheaded. Within seconds of saying that, I fainted. I woke up seconds later to the ward now being in code blue. I had never seen so many nurses and doctors in one room so fast. There must have been 15 to 20 people in this small room. I had needles going into my arms, an oxygen mask being put on, and multiple nurses and doctors talking to me. Raf, stay with us. Raf, look at me, keep your eyes open. This was the first time in my life that I was genuinely scared for my life. I could overhear that they were trying to get a hold of my surgeon because once again I needed emergency surgery. I was rushed into the theater and they prepped me again. Giving me another IV. There was a delay because my surgeon was finishing up surgery for another patient at another hospital. It was at this moment where I broke down crying. I felt so sick, all I could taste was blood. I was scared, alone. I didn't know what was going to happen to me. All the while I was still coughing up a lot of blood. After some time had passed, the nurse with me was starting to panic. We need to get him into the theater now. They kept trying to give me oxygen but I kept coughing blood into the mask. My surgeon arrived and I was put to sleep. I woke up in unbearable pain and agony. It was the worst pain I had felt since this whole thing began. But that quickly changed when I was given morphine. I rested up and was eventually moved back into the ward and I was greeted by my mom and Nan. My poor mother had been through hell. She had only just before it all went down. She was bawling her eyes out the whole time I was going through it all, blaming herself for leaving Frown. Day 7. I got a big sleep and I woke up to my surgeon checking in on me. He was truly sorry for my ordeal and said I was the worst he had ever seen. The cause was the same as last time, a vessel had opened up and caused the bleeding. All in all, I lost 800 milliliters of blood from that ordeal. That's almost a fifth of total blood. It's crazy to think that if I wasn't in the ward when it happened there was a good chance I could have died. Day 8 to 9. I stayed in the hospital. Everyone agreed that it was the best place for me, just in case thunder struck 3 times. I was pretty shaking on day 8 still, but as soon as word got out that it went from standard procedure to almost fatal I was receiving a lot of love from my family and friends. Twitch kept me sane throughout my stay. All my streaming buddies reached out and wished me well, which all contributed to making me feel better. Day 10. I am typing to you all from my phone. This is probably the longest thread I have ever written on Reddit and I don't normally post much but I wanted to share my story because this will stick with me for the rest of my life. Each day I'm feeling more and more strong. My pain still sucks but it's getting less severe and I haven't bled since. I'm out of hospital being taken very well care of by my mother. As cliche as it sounds, this whole experience made me very grateful not only for my life but more importantly the doctors, nurses, surgeons, paramedics, etc. that go through so much stress to help us fellow humans live the lives we live. I can't wait to be back in full health and hopefully I can play some games and get some streams in before I go back to work. What do you think about this story? Let me know in the comments section. Help us grow so more people will join us. Thank you for watching this video and we will see you in the next one. Bye.